Here's a 1950s Popperette Popcorn Machine. This is the later model. It's one of the younger ones. There's a few differences. I'll get into that in a second. This is one of the first models, and the main difference is the cam. This one just has the cam in its original design, and it had a mercury switch which operated the motor. The newer ones went away from the mercury switch, and it wasn't because of mercury is bad for you. It was probably because the switch loosened up and the popcorn machine wouldn't work. As you can see with this cam here, let me get my finger in here though. Yeah, here we go. You can see right over here they used to come out to about here, and what they did is they machined this down. And the reason is when you get to this stage, the basket is going to lift up, and this is for drainage. And then what they did was they basically took one of these circles from the original cam right here, and they cut it to give you like an extra kick, because when the cam's riding, it comes over here and springs up. This part here, right here, springs up into here, and that pops the popcorn out of the basket. And a lot of times the popcorn will stay in the basket, so it comes back down and does like a double kick. That's basically the one modification that they did for the other ones. Plus they got a relay. Usually it's in this general area. I moved it back here, so basically it's a relay instead of the mercury switch that was operating off of here. These machines can run off of any oil, but I've used corn oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, and what happens is the cooking chamber, which you can't see, let me get in here, this area here, the basket, the chamber, all this stuff inside here gets all gummed up, and it's very, very hard to clean, and it just gets nasty. So what I do is use coconut oil, which is what generally the movie theaters use, and this machine was designed for. The only problem is, you can see it's a solid, so you have to come up with some way to melt it. So they had these heaters. Make sure I don't get zapped here. These heaters right here, and what they did was basically heat up this tube which goes to your pump, and it heats up the oil right over here, so the pump will be pumping liquid. Another alternative that I came up with here was to get a fondue pot. If you didn't have the little heaters, you can get a fondue pot, and you just kind of plug it in and melt the oil. This is my the original machine I have, and you can melt the oil probably about, say, 20 minutes prior, because the one thing you don't want to do is run this thing without the oil, because if oil does not get pumped back up into this one cooking chamber, if oil does not get pumped up into that, it will be depleted by the popcorn being cooked. It's going to absorb some of the oil, and it's going to, boil off a bit. And if oil does not get back into that, there is a heater, a ceramic heater in there, and the ceramic heater will basically shatter, and then this thing is useless. So you always want to make sure you got oil up in there. While I'm waiting for this heater to melt the oil a little more, let me give you a brief rundown of how this machine works. What you do is you put your, oops, get a 3D effect here. Put your diamond here. It goes through the coin rejector, makes a coin switch, and that's just a momentary switch for like a split second. That goes back over here, which gives power to a coil, which energizes and makes a switch, which comes through this switch and starts turning this motor. Okay. Now, a couple seconds after it's into it, this cam's going to be turning, and it's going to get beyond this switch. Once it does that, this switch here is going to change its position. It's going to take out that relay, and now the motor is going to run just through this switch, and there's another micro switch back here. The cam's going to turn, and as you see this screw, it's going to come up and it's going to hit a couple levers. First lever drops the popcorn into the basket. Then it gets to the second lever, which opens up another door to refill that little trap door that the popcorn was stored in. And as it gets to that, there's a another cam back here. You can see it right there with that switch. That is also rotating, and as that cam rotates, there's a flap. Let's see if I can. You can't really see it here, but there's a flap that will move down, and that will make another switch over here, which is a normally closed switch. So when it makes it, it opens up, and that's in the motor circuit, and that kills the power. It's in the motor. And then what happens is a heater is energized on the other side, and this machine will pop the popcorn. Once the popcorn gets to a certain level, it raises up that umbrella. It's called the umbrella for some reason, that bronze weight, and that takes the pressure off that switch, which closes it, sends power back to the motor, and then the cam keeps rotating until it gets to this end cycle, hits the switch and turns it off. You'll see that in a minute. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to put a dime in, and you're going to see one thing that you're going to see is this door is going to close and the basket is going to drop. Okay, and that's all operated off that cam. So here we go. Now the popcorn is going to come down. Once it hits that one lever for the cam, it's going to hit that lever right now. There goes the popcorn. And you can see over here, it just went to the one lever. Now it hits this other lever. And what's going on now is drop some more corn down for the next batch. That one back cam moved that one umbrella, which closed that or opened that switch back there, and that stopped the motor. So what's going on now? Well, another thing that these the later version had was they had a light on. Whenever the heater is on, this light comes on. I guess that's so people wouldn't be kicking the machine thinking, you know, where's my popcorn? So anyway, let's open up this side here. You have a heater switch that's also worked off of that cam. I just move this here. And that's going to just stay there until popcorn pops. And it's going to lift up this umbrella, this lever. It's like a little paddle in there. It's starting to move now. There it goes. And what that did was it just took that bronze weight. You can see it moving in the background. The cam shifted that bronze weight off that switch, which closes the power back to the motor. Now the rest of what's going on is the cam's going to be moving, and you can see right over here, if you look, the basket is up a little bit. It is draining. Now it's going to get over here, and it's going to flip. There it goes. Now it's going to go down. It's going to do like another thing to empty some more out. And that's basically how the Popperette works. And if you have, let me get a cardboard thing from over here. Just take your container, put it underneath, move that around, and there you go, hot fresh popcorn.